Just have to take a quick minute to thank our sponsors, Yellow Dog Paddle, Mackin's Rip and Lips Fishing Trips, NJFishing.com, and 8 Ball Sport Fishing. Also have to thank our supporters, Mike K's Guide Service, Psycho Jigs, Lip Glue, FC Fish Company, Nor'easter Hardcore Apparel, Hoggy Time Jigs, The Mimi Sick, and The Gambler. NJ Fishing, NJFishing.com. Coming up on 28 years is the number one resource in both freshwater and saltwater fishing here in New Jersey. Just email Jerry Zagorski, ask for a username. You can get involved in the forum in the sea bass conversation, which is going on right now. Let your voice be heard. NJFishing.com. Check it out today. Hello and welcome to episode number 114 of the NJ Multi-Species Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Santiago. As always, my partner, Chris Pereira.
Are these intros edited at all, or is everyone going to see you flipping your mic backwards and going, oh, shit, it's backwards, and then turn it and then start the episode?
That all depends on what Deuce feels like putting in or cutting out. But once the podcast decides to go live, he can't save us anymore. So you're going to see whatever it is, which will be horrible.
I'm going to go on record and say I think it's a terrible idea, but it is going to be hilarious.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it will. It will be hilarious. It'll be a massive failure, and yeah, it'll be funny as hell. We're both wearing fishmonger hats. We went on a fishmonger trip. We obviously put some posts up already. The trip was unbelievable. We're going to talk about that in a second, but first we have to talk about the sea bass thing. Even though the podcast is kind of coming out 2 days late, I think Wednesday night's the cutoff to make the comments on this. But Jerry Zagorski from NJFishing.com explained to me he wants to make it kind of clear. And you could go to NJFishing.com, check his article out. He wrote a really good article up. And then Jim Hutchinson, kind of in like collaboration, wrote one too. And they're being shared all over the internet right now because it's really important. Basically, what's going on is they want to tighten the sea bass regulations even tighter. And for the past 20 years, the fishermen of New Jersey have been dealing with severely strict sea bass regulations in order to rebuild the sea bass population. Now, they did that. The sea bass stock is way over 200%. It's almost more than double of the dream they once had. And no one really is sure why they want to make it even tighter. Right now, for the summer, you're allowed one fish, which is just ridiculous. Party boats can't book trips based off one fish, and no one would go on it anyway. It's really important, and it's really something that has to be dealt with at a federal level. You could make a fuss all you want at a state level, but the state's only allowed a certain amount of sea bass from the federal government. So you could ask for 5 sea bass in the summer and get them. That's no problem. But they're going to take that 5 from the spring. So right now you're allowed 15 in the spring. You'll be allowed 5 in the summer, but you're only going to be allowed 10 in the spring. So wherever you take them from, they're going to take them from there. We want to go at the federal level and have actual fish added to where you could actually add a summer fish season with a creel limit and not subtract anything from those other seasons. The party boats have suffered tremendously from this. Last year, there was even an emergency shutdown, which killed their offshore sea bass season, which for boats like the Gambler is a huge part of their business. Recreational fishermen. Chris, what's your thoughts on this?
I didn't get a chance to look at the details yet, and I didn't talk to Jerry yet, like you did. So, I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know the details of all that, But I want to say something about this in general when this happens, right? Because I know that you see a lot of guys online, wherever, when they hear something like, "Oh, the party boats are suffering," they say, "I don't care. Screw the party boats." Maybe they have their own personal boat, and they would, in their minds, they prefer if the party boats don't get to keep those fish and go out of business, whatever. And what these guys fail to understand is the chain reaction that would happen if, like, let's just say, for example, many or all of the party boats went out of business. Let's just say, all right. So what happens then is the tackle shops take a big hit because there's a lot of people that can only fish on party boats. They don't have their own boat. They don't have friends with boats. So now the amount of people fishing in total goes down. Now the business for tackle shops goes down. And this is just a very generalization of this process. But the point is, tackle shops lose business. Now tackle shops start closing down. This tackle shop maybe doesn't make enough business anymore with the party boats out of business. And it's just a chain reaction that will trickle down, and it will affect you. So guys like to say, "Oh, screw, who cares about the party boats? They go out of business, whatever." Cut the sea bass down again. I don't eat them. I don't eat this. I don't eat that. I don't need to keep fish. What they don't understand is no matter what your stance is, whatever it is you like to do, it will get to you eventually. It will trickle down to you.
Actually, it's funny you mention that because like Jerry himself doesn't like sea bass. Every time I've asked him to take me sea bass fishing, he complains. He doesn't want to do it. He calls them sunnies of the sea, but he's making a huge ruckus about this because he just knows it's wrong. It's just not right. And you're right. Everyone has to make noise, and that's what he's doing.
He understands the process. He understands that it will get to him one way or the other. Like I said, it doesn't matter. And that's it. Before I started hunting, I always stood with hunters. If I saw a hunting page post something about they're losing access to land or access to something, or the rules were changing and it wasn't in their favor, I'd always stand by them, sign whatever petition it was, and I didn't even hunt. And that for the same basic reason, it's always going to trickle down. It's always going to trickle down to you. Whatever you like to do, if it involves the outdoors, if it involves fishing or hunting, it's always going to trickle down to you. So it goes for everything. If you want to protect fishing and hunting, you have to stand up for things that may not directly affect you at the moment, because I promise you it will in the future.
And also I do want to add, because I did it before, just before this, if you go to njfishing.com, Jerry's article on this, he couldn't have made it any easier. He put the link directly in the article itself, and you click the link, it takes you right to the page, and it just asks for your name and your comment, and it submits it and sends you an email confirmation. It was easy. It took 5 minutes just to make some noise. And like Chris said and I said, a lot of people have been paying the penalties on this for 20 years. Really strict regulations on these fish. The reef program has done an amazing job at rebuilding the fishery. I mean, there's just so many wheels in the motion and whole process of this thing that a lot of people paid their debt to basically rebuild an amazing fishery that New Jersey's now being deprived of for basically no reason and almost no explanation also.
It doesn't surprise me at all.
It doesn't. It's not surprising for New Jersey. But yes, please visit Jerry's website, njfishing.com, and click that link. Tell them we want to fish for more sea bass. Try to help save our fishery. Tonight's guest, George Shao from the Fisherman Magazine. He does the freshwater video reports, which is really cool. He should be ready very soon. I think we're going to talk to. Actually, is George ready? You want to talk to George and then talk about the Fishmonger?
Yeah, that works. I think he's ready to go.
Okay, let's get George. Eddie Mackin. Mackin's Rippin' Lips Fishing Trips continues to be on fire. Lake Apacon. The hybrid fishing is really good right now. Eddie has a really good morning bite going on. Also, the pontoon boat rentals still available if you're looking to take a group of kids. That is the best option. And red eye trips still available if you're fishing by yourself. Eddie will partner you with another angler also looking to fish. Call Eddie Mackin today to book your next trip on Lake Hopakon. Okay, so our guest is ready to come in. As you know, we've done a lot of guests from Fisherman Magazine. Tonight we have the man that does their freshwater fishing videos. Pocono Outdoors guy, George Shao, also involved in so much other stuff. We're going to let him almost introduce himself. But George, welcome to the NJ Multi-Species Podcast.
Great to be here, guys. Thanks for asking me to join you guys.
Absolutely, yeah. It was Joe ruined the surprise, but we're gonna break your balls and introduce you with the wrong last name because
did I do that once or twice?
Yeah, well, Jen Wong told me you did it purposely just to be funny.
Oh, no. Well, that's Jen. Yeah, he's evil. You know, Jen.
How did he say?
Yeah.
What did he say? How did he pronounce your name?
I don't know. There was like some N's thrown in there. I think Panern or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I probably got that really wrong. I apologize.
Now, George,
I don't actually care. I just thought it was funny.
We're going to start firing questions right at you.
Yeah, let's go for it, guys.
You're a major contributor to the Fisherman Magazine with the Freshwater Fishing Report. And actually, freshwater fishing reports in New Jersey are something that over the years have been really hard to ever find. I know it's been 6 years, you said?
Yeah, we joined the Fisherman about 6 years ago. I was actually out ice fishing with my buddy Josh, and we were having a hard time finding a lake with enough ice to get out and drill a couple holes on. So I was in the middle of doing a Facebook Live, and we finally found a lake. And later that day, after the Facebook Live, Jim actually texted me. He says, "Hey, I'm Jim from the Fisherman. Would you mind doing something similar occasionally with the magazine?" I thought, absolutely, why not? Well, he gave me 1 foot in the door, and I haven't missed an episode since. So I wasn't going to give him a chance to say no. But yeah, we've been working with Jim. The whole gang is just phenomenal over there.
Yeah, very well known in New Jersey. Basically like a staple of the fishing community here. But yeah, like I was saying, when when I first learned to use the internet, I think the first thing I typed in was like where are the best freshwater fishing spots, and like everything that came up was saltwater. There was nothing freshwater. Freshwater report was just unheard of. So to come up with that freshwater, especially in a video format, like you might see a freshwater report once in a while. It's going to be written though. The video one's very unique. And yeah, like I said, in New Jersey, freshwater fishing reports are just really hard, especially ice. I mean, there's always people looking for ice. It's funny. That's how you got the idea.
I tell you what, I think Pennsylvania seems to be a little bit easier. Guys that are fishing New Jersey, especially freshwater, seem to be very tight-lipped. They don't want to spot burn, and I get that. I mean, I've spot burned myself, so I don't know how many times. But you get guys that are out there on Round Valley or Merrill Creek or someplace way on to, there's some great fish in there, but they're like, don't tell them where. It's like a big secret. And I don't want to, if guys are coming to me and say, hey, look, I scored big, and you're going around trying to get information to build a report, and they're saying, but don't tell anybody, that's kind of tough. I think you'll see, I tend to be a little bit more Pennsylvania focused because they're more open. Places like Beltsville are so big. It's unless I'm standing there fishing on a rock, they're not going to know where to fish in Beltsville. If I say they're catching stripers or walleyes or whatnot, Round Valley, that's kind of straightforward how you're going to fish that, But the guys are just very tight-lipped, and it's hard to get information out of some folks to try to get that word out.
Do you think it's just because of the population density difference? Because I was going to bring up that same exact question.
I think Jersey's just dicks.
No, I don't know. I think it's, and to some extent, I agree with them. You work so hard to get a fishing program down, how you do things, what you do, you're successful at it. And you don't want some guy in the video sharing your secrets. And I totally get that. But one of the things I've always admired about fishermen, and even in the competitive tournaments style, we share information with each other. I think we're the only competitive sport that we help each other out and our fishing buddies and share where to fish and what's working and stuff like that. So I would say, if you're going to share, let's be a little more open. Let's get the people and get the young guys into it. The kids, we got to get them in there. That's the next generation. So we got to kind of help them along. Let's face it, when you and I were out there fishing, we had to go out there and just beat the water ourselves. There was nowhere to get reports, right? Or how to do it. Your grandpa told you, your pop took you out, or you just had to go out by yourself and figure it out. We got such a resource now, and it's let's use it to get that next generation on board.
I might have a little bit of a unique viewpoint of this because I actually didn't start fishing until my 20s. So I immediately had a little bit of access, to the internet with fishing. And it's nothing like it is today, but I didn't grow up like nobody. My dad didn't fish. My grandpa didn't fish. Nobody taught me how to fish. I just kind of had to learn myself. So to me, the internet, learning how to fish from the internet is the only way I knew to start. And so I guess I kind of have a different, a unique view to it. And I have this kind of I feel like there's a line that you can walk where you can share information with people. And if you give them just enough to help them, but not make it too easy for them, then they in turn kind of respect the fisheries. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But you don't want to spot burn anybody.
I was going to ask, do you yourself get blasted by people? Because we do. We get blasted, especially when we post striper videos. We get rocked pretty bad by the surf fishermen. If there's a bridge in the background. Do you take backlash heat when you put some of these reports out?
I used to, but I think nowadays, I guess with the reach that we're getting with the magazine, it's more appreciative, and I get tons of email every week, people sending me pictures in. Oh, look, I finally got on them. Or, how do you, they email me personally and say, well, how do you actually catch them things? And I try to do a lot of interaction to share that. I want everybody to be successul.
That's actually awesome to hear that, because we get emails like they want to fight me in a Walmart parking lot. It's hard, it's just ridiculous.
I think I had one guy like that a couple of years ago, and he was a bass fisherman on Beltsville. I mean, a largemouth. And boy, I'll tell you, I'm a big striper fisherman, especially the sweetwater stripers. And boy, he blasted me because I'm bringing all these people in from Jersey, New York, now going to fish his lake, and take all his fish. And yeah, I got that hate mail once from one guy, but everybody else has been really cool. And it's more asking for information and appreciative of whatever we can give them.
You said it was a bass guy.
PA multi-species podcast.
Yeah, I don't want to start a whole thing, but you said it was a bass guy, and I kind of was like, well, that doesn't surprise me. And here's why. See, when guys are just obsessed with one or two species and they spend all their time just on those one or two species, they have no need for other kinds of information. But all the guys that like to fish for all the different kinds of species, I mean, there's no way you can't. You'd have to multiply yourself dozens of times to learn all those, every little bit of it. So you need the information, right? So it's kind of like a give and take. You give a little bit of information, you take a little bit of information from the internet. And these guys that are just obsessed with one or two species, they kind of, like this guy that you mentioned, feel like, oh, this is my, I only fish this lake. I only fish for largemouth bass. What the hell? This is my lake. It's weird mentality. I'll never understand, but
they get really upset. I'm sure you see my good friend Josh Taylor. He's a guide now on Beltsville with Fish Fever Guide Service. He same guy was blasting him for now. Now we got this guide out here taking all the fish out of the lake. It's just insane the way some of these. And it's only one or two people, and we talk with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people like you guys that are looking for information, sharing their catches. I love when people email me and say, hey, look what I got this week. And they're holding up a big striper out of the Delaware or even a walleye, anything. we'll fish anything. That's what I take pride in.
And you mentioned the kids, getting the kids into it, because without continuing this, generation by generation, this goes away.
That's right.
And with the technology that we have now, if you want kids, listen, if you want kids to fish, the internet has to be involved. Social media has to be involved. And there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And we can get all into that. But the bottom line is, a lot of these kids, their parents don't fish. So if they don't have access to some kind of information, if there aren't guys willing to share, and I think there are a lot of guys, like you said, but it's needed. Without it, this dies.
It does. I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm in my mid 60s right now, and I've only learned to striper fish maybe 12 years ago. I used to be a bass fisherman like those guys too. And I remember one time I was in Beltsville working a steep drop off, and I had a chrome rattle trap out that I'm beating the bank. And then something grabbed a hold of it. And I said, oh, this is really different. And that, it was a striper, and that thing just started peeling off drag. And I finally got up. I said, wow, I really like this. So first thing I do is go online. How do you fish for striper? I like this. And I started seeing the Mike Smedleys, showing you how to get them, and the Tony Maja videos, and all these little things. You just absorb the knowledge to how do you do this? And I've gotten fairly good at it, and it's things I want to pass on to other people when they say, well, how do you fish for them? I did some TV shows over here in Pennsylvania with showing people how to striper fish as well. So it's really rewarding to pass that on to people.
Yeah, and I don't know where these guys get this hate for sharing information, because I always want to ask, well, where did you get the information from? Like, maybe you were lucky enough that like your dad or your grandpa showed you, but I doubt they showed you everything, because those old school guys did, one or two things, one or two different ways. Like that, these guys are getting information from the internet too, and then they're bitching and complaining about other people sharing information. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Well, like you, I'd say every week, I just love getting the emails that come in, especially over the weekend, what you guys catch over the weekend. I try to share that each week in my video. Again, not to spot burn, but we'll give them some tips. Where are you catching? I try to ask for, you don't have to give me exactly what you're using, but green pumpkin hitting good, or you guys, whatever. It's just, you try to pass along what's working this time of year.
Would you say you spend more time now targeting stripers in freshwater or saltwater?
I was out in the Raritan earlier. We did that tagging program with Jim earlier this year. So we were out there fishing stripers on the Raritan. That was a blast. But Beltsville's just down the road from me. So, I can take an hour and a half, 2 hour ride to Jersey and hit the beach, or I can roll out of bed and hit the lake and get some stripers here. And they're the same fish.
Yeah, we don't have that. That's something I've never been on a lake that's even had them. I don't know, Chris, if you have, but I've never even had a shot at catching one.
I haven't, and you're kind of far, but I'm not that far from some of the Pennsylvania lakes that have them. And you can continue what you were going to say, Joe, and then I want to add something to it in particular.
I was going to ask how big of a difference it is in the way you would target them in saltwater compared to targeting them in freshwater.
The question I get all the time, a pure strain striper is a pure strain striper. The things that they do is built in here, right? Now, when you go out on the Pennsylvania lake, I go out to my lake here, there's no adult bunker out there, right? Mm-hmm. But what there is ally. The herring are just, there are billions of them out there, and they're big schools. And you're going to see, just like you do out on Island Beach right off, you're going to see them blitzing on this bait, and it's a big mayhem for 10 seconds, and they go down. You can run and gun and chase them, throw topwaters at them, and that is a blast. But I troll for them, just like you would out there. I can use like a small mojo. Tony Maja makes a 3 ounce, he calls it a casting mojo. I use that to troll with on the lake, and it was really successful with that. Otherwise, I'd use like a 1 ounce bucktail with a paddle tail trailer on it, kind of like a mini mojo as well. You got to go scale it down for the bait. Since there's no bunker there, they're used to seeing 3-4 inch fish as bait. So you throw a full-size mojo out there and they won't know what that is. But they will recognize something they feed on every day.
What about the speed?
Speed is kind of the same. I would do I would troll the mojos and stuff down probably about 2.5 miles an hour. We drift live bait probably at about 0.5 mile an hour, because we'll throw live herring on.
I got to imagine you could do something similar to how the guys like to fish for the hybrid striped bass in the summer here by slow trolling live herring.
Yep. It's exactly. Matter of fact, I was out on Wildman Pompack about 2 weeks ago with a buddy, Will Gropper, and we were doing the same thing, just trolling live herring around. And we went through a school of hybrids, and all 6 rods went off at one time with 3 of us. And there was, I tried to grab a camera. It was just too insane. There was fish everywhere. One broke the rod holder. It was nuts.
It's like the only thing that can happen in fishing where it's like, it's terrible. Like you might lose every fish, break a rod holder, but it's still like, you're still happy it happened.
Yeah, well, he wasn't real happy because, like, if he got like a $1,100 St. Croix there with, he had some real high end equipment on the.
Oh God!
Right,
look, we didn't lose anything, almost, but we didn't lose anything. But we got 5 of the 6 fish on the boat, and that was it was just fun. And then we picked up a couple of pure strains as well. So you never know what you're going to catch, but it's really a blast.
How often are they caught as like bycatch? Like a bass fisherman's out there throwing a Cinco, and the next thing he has a 30-inch striped bass on.
Well, it depends. I mean, bass, I think I was lucky because I was fishing a real steep drop off. You got to remember, midsummer, those fish are working the thermoclines. They're not going to be up in that 80, 85 degree water. They're just not happy unless they're up chasing some alewi, but then they're going right back down to underneath the thermocline. So you're looking at about 20, 25 feet deep is where that water separates from 80s down to the 60s. They're going to be cruising that layer looking for bait up above. Okay. Bass fishing is going to be working the bank, the lily pads, maybe a secondary drop off for some smallmouth. Now with a Cinco, I don't think they're going to be up in that shallow, those stripers, unless they're really actively chasing bait up into a shallow area. So it happens. Don't get me wrong. I've had a rod go flying right out of the boat, and I know it was a striper. Just because the way it took off at high speed, but that happens. But usually, I think the bass guys are just getting what they're shooting for, and if they do, they're not happy about it, and they just toss it back.
That's the weirdest thing to me. Like when they catch a fish that is bigger and fights harder, and hell, if you're looking for something to eat, it tastes better, but they're mad about it.
Everybody's got their thing. Look at the trout guys. The trout guys wouldn't know what to do with it. I mean, not that they're wrong. Believe me, there's some beautiful brown trout in the lake we fish. I mean, huge ones. I love catching brown trout, but this goes to that whole multi-species thing again. You're not zoned in on just one fish. There's so many opportunities year round. Now don't just focus on striper or don't just focus on trout. Explore what everything has to offer there.
Well, it's like it's not like when I go fishing, I don't go fishing necessarily and say every time like, oh, I hope I just catch a bunch of different things. I pick certain things. I target things all the time. So if I'm out targeting bass for the day, and I catch a carp that peels my drag out, gives me a great fight, comes in, I might see it and be like, I mean, if I'm in a bass contest or something, obviously you're like, ah, crap.
Sure.
That's not going to count. But otherwise, you're like, maybe you think it's a big bass. I don't see how you could if you're experienced. Like you kind of know, like that ain't a bad.
Right.
But then you get it and you're like, wow, that was a great fight. Like, look at this big, beautiful fish. Like, take my picture. Okay. And then I go back to bass fishing.
Right.
So I just don't get it. And then the whole pickerel thing, I get it when they cut your lure off, they steal your lure. That pisses me off too. But if a nice big pickerel gives me a good fight, comes in, didn't cut my lure off, I'm totally happy with it. I mean,
and ice fishing pickerel, how many times do you get them? And there's some pretty big ones.
Oh yeah.
We actually like it. It's not a regular target. It's usually always bycatch, except ice fishing. Sometimes you do target them, but we actually do know one guy, Rock Chain Pickerel, who's our friend. he only fishes for pickerel all year. That's all he does.
Okay.
And that's his thing. 12 months a year, he pickerel fishes.
I think he does
If
some
that's-
pike too.
If
I
that's
don't
what
think
you
he
like,
does
go
much.
for it.
I mean, he is. Well, I asked him to get on here, and he said, no one wants to talk about pickerel. I said, well, they might.
People do.
Hammer handles,
now,
slime
George,
darts.
I don't
Wait,
want
are
to
you
blow.
moving away from the stripers?
Well, I don't want to blow all his time on.
I
one
just had
thing.
2 more quick questions.
All right.
'Cause
Yeah, please.
the night fishing, we love to fish for hybrids at night. Can you do something similar or the same with those stripers at night over there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, you get them on the Delaware. A lot of guys been catching them nighttime. Live eels are always good. I throw plugs at night, and we get on them as well. It's just a really cool way to do it when you whip that lure out there and you can't see what you got. You just all of a sudden the rod loads up and you're on.
That's kind of what I was learning, like those top water plugs or those subsurface plugs. So that works on them too, obviously.
Absolutely.
And the last question about the stripers, because you mentioned the ice fishing, and that's one thing. It's probably the major thing locally that I've been talking about doing for years and years, and I just have never done it. And I just keep talking about it, and I never pull the trigger on trying it, is ice fishing for the pure strange stripers. You have to have done it, I'm assuming.
Yeah. We've done it. Actually, I did an article on that a couple of years ago in the Fisherman. I can probably look that up for you, but it's kind of the same thing I've been talking about here. A striper is a striper. It's going to act like it's going to act. Freshwater, saltwater. Just downsize a little bit. You know where they're going to be. They're cruising that deeper water where it's cool. It's not freezing. It's not 30 degrees. It's down deeper where you got that 55-degree water all year round. And they're going to be hunting bait. We actually caught stripers and opened them up, and they had bluegills in their belly. So they're going to eat. And it's, a pretty big bait, not just alewives, especially wintertime when they're hungry and running around. It's a lot of fun.
You can't get alewives for ice fishing anyway, so you're going to have to use something else anyway.
Right. Not for ice fishing. Yeah, you can. But big shiners, that jumbo shiners, they still have big ones. Again, you could actually use a bluegill or something of that nature. A lot of guys buy trout just for bait. And that's another option. You guys can drive down. Yeah, it's like candy. You might as well throw an eel at them.
And will they eat like a dead bait? Like if you have
sure
tip ups with live eels, that'd be crazy.
Tip ups, I wouldn't recommend it. You just see that thing fold up and disappear. You just say goodbye to your tip up.
That would be a knot in like seconds.
You just need to get some heavy jigging gear, get them set up on a good rod holder. So when it loads up, it's going to stand there for you.
Yeah, that's so cool. I got
Okay, can we move on, Chris, from the striper now?
Go ahead.
All right, George, I know you're also your tag's Pocono Outdoors guy, and like you said, you're a multi-species fisherman. What else do you like to do other than striper fish?
Oh, I do a little bit of everything. We go up to Lake Ontario. I love the salmon, the lake trout, the steelhead. I like that kind of fishing. Saltwater, I caught, marlin out of Acapulco. Sailfish out of Acapulco, marlin off of Cape Hatteras. That was a blast. Last year, I actually got my first tuna out with the Mushin guys. Captain Alan Lee had us out, Jim Hutchinson and myself with Dave DeGennaro out on a trip. And wow, what a blast. Got my first yellowfin. And that was just really something to remember.
That's awesome.
Wahoo. I've done a lot.
He's just like us. Like he doesn't say no to anything.
No. You put me on a boat, we'll fish anything. But freshwater, I love the challenge of striper fishing. Obviously, getting a 40-pound fish out of your lake is a lot of fun, and people just don't believe there's fish that big in there. I think the lake record right down by where I'm at on Beltsville is 46-pound, I believe. I think there's a 52 out of Raystown. So it's just like saltwater fishing, just in your own backyard. Love walleye fishing, crappie fishing. Smallmouth I like that over largemouth, obviously. But pretty much.
I wonder if New Jersey's ever investigated putting those true strains in a lake. Pennsylvania does it in a couple lakes, and it's
there's several.
Successful. Yeah. I wonder why New Jersey has never, or maybe they have. I have no idea.
I'm going to throw a guess out there. I don't know, and then George can tell us the truth if he knows it. But what's the smallest acreage lake that has the stripers in Pennsylvania?
Oh, geez.
Just basic, like general.
Maybe Blue Marsh Creek, I would think, maybe.
Well, like
there's hybrids in there. I don't know the
under 2,000 acres?
I don't think so. It might be up. I really don't know, and I don't want to mislead you on the question. But I know things like Blue Marsh. I got Raystown, which is 35 miles long. Beltsville, Wallenpaupack, Nakamixon. I mean, they're stocked quite a few lakes.
The lake is 35 miles long.
Yeah, it looks a big snake.
Yeah, that's why it's not in New Jersey.
So, like, my point is, like, our biggest lake is Lake Hopatcong, and I think it's 2,200 something acres. That's it. That's our biggest lake.
How deep is it?
65, maybe.
At the deepest possible point, maybe. I'm like, generally speaking, the deep parts are like 40 to 50. And
it doesn't have the most water, though. Round Valley has more water.
Well, okay, because it's like 200 something feet deep.
Yes,
but you got to put bait in there as well.
Yeah,
they eat nonstop.
Yeah, we've had. Oh, does Pennsylvania stock bait into these lakes?
Yeah. There's the LY. Yeah,
I don't think New Jersey stocks bait. Obviously, they did at some point, but I don't think that they, like, on a yearly basis, stock bait. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't believe they do.
Do they naturally reproduce in the lake, or they can't?
There's so many questions on that. People say that anything stocked doesn't reproduce. We've seen some evidence. We think they do themselves because there's so many juvenile fish in there. I really don't. I think we need a biologist to come really investigate that. I've talked to the Fish Commission. They tell me no. Other people tell me yeah. I don't know. I'm not a biologist. I think that's a very valid question. I wish somebody would look into.
Well, the biologists aren't always right either with that stuff, because I don't know if you ever heard. I mean, I'm sure you have. The biologist didn't think lake trout would spawn in Round Valley and Merrill Creek, and they just kept stocking them based on that, that they wouldn't stock. And then obviously they do successfully. Mm-hmm. And, now you had the issue of now there's way too many of them. They're stunted and all that. But,
nature will find a way. That's what people always tell me. Nature will really find a way.
Whoa, that's my line.
There you go. Jurassic Park. We got sued by.
Of course.
George,
trademark violation.
As much as I'm trying to move on to any other topic, we seem to just come back to the stripe. We can't get off it because we just can't.
All right, we'll take a time out from the stripers.
It's been something. It's been stuck in both our heads for a long time, especially through the ice. Like Chris said, we are obsessed with this, and once we get obsessed with shit like this, we won't let it go. Sure. But we're becoming obsessed with this freshwater striped bass thing. But Chris, we have to move on from.
I said let George pick the next topic.
I was going to ask George about the sea bass situation and if he knew anything about that at all.
No, I think we'll leave that topic for Jim. Again, I'm more of the freshwater guys. I enjoy the saltwater, but I usually get guided, so to speak, by some other great fishermen down there. I mean, I did the surf fishing for blues and some stripers and stuff like that. But I was never, like I said, the marlin I caught was on a guided trip with one of my customers, and I was making tackle. Just stuff like that. I'd never been able to really get out on my own besides surf.
Understandable. I have a couple internet questions for you.
Yeah.
One person asked, is there any freshwater fishing in New Jersey that you say is better and cross the border for?
You know what? I think I said in one of my reports a couple of weeks ago that I think Jersey does a fairly good job of stocking other species in their waters. Pennsylvania, I think, is stuck on trout for number one because everybody wants their trout. Bass, again, the stripers, it's my thing, but I don't think there's a lot of diversity. I'm just jealous that you guys have Atlantic salmon over there, and some of those things, more lake trout than we have over here. So there's things we definitely go over to Jersey for to fish that I don't have here in freshwater.
I try to tell people all the time, like Jersey's like a sleeper state for fishing when it comes to variety. Like
Yeah.
some guys just won't they just kind of poo-poo you away. I'm like telling you.
I think they're missing opportunities here in PA, to be honest. The lake over here, when they draw it down for, when we start getting into droughts and whatnot, they'll pull it down 20 feet and the whole bottom's covered with zebra mussels and stuff like that. I'd love to see freshwater drum in there. They're just so hard fighting and they're good. And then there's a food source that'll just take care of that pest,
Yeah.
It's an invasive species. I didn't fish for them. We caught one by accident up in Lake Champlain fishing with a guide, and we thought it was a monster smallmouth, and it was probably one of my favorite catches up there.
Yeah, I mean, guys love smallmouth for the fight, so why wouldn't you love a fish?
Giant freshwater drum would be phenomenal.
And anyone who I talk to that has either accidentally caught them or whatever, as long as they have an open mind, they love it. They're like, oh my God, I wish we had a fishery for this.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of them in Oneida too, right?
I don't know. I haven't fished at Oneida. My friends go up there. They do a lot of ice fishing up there at Oneida, but I haven't gotten up there myself yet.
I'm not sure about specifically Oneida, but a bunch of upstate New York lakes, have a good amount of them. And Chuck Manny loves them. Like when he goes down to North Carolina, he targets them. Says they're great. He says he wishes we had them here all the time. I said, put some in your suitcase and bring them up.
Bring them on up.
Water.
George, if only.
For anyone that's watching this and wants to check out all your stuff and see the video reports, what's the easiest way to find you on social media?
Well, for me personally, you can just look on Facebook, look up Pocono Outdoors Guy. Same thing on Instagram. I do have a website. I don't often update it, but it's still there with lots of things. PoconoOutdoorsGuy.com. But subscribe to the Fisherman Magazine. You get the automatic updates and the reports emailed to you every week, and you get to see them. And you get all the reports, the great saltwater stuff in New Jersey and the freshwater over here as well, and with you guys. So that's the best way to get a hold of us.
Yeah, and I just want to say one more thing. I want to urge anyone like listening to this who's never shared anything with you or at all. Think about it. Like you don't have to say, hey, I drove down to Lake X on the end of this street and that street, and I parked there and I walked in and I used this on the corner. Like it doesn't have to have all these details, but consider sharing something. Send something into George or share it on your own page or whatever. Like just you take so much information from the internet, put a little bit back on there, I guess what I'm trying to say, and just so that fishing stays alive. Anything in the outdoors like just stays alive. Like put a little bit back into it in that sense, because I know you're taking it. Anyone listening, I know you're taking it. That's why you're listening to this. You're taking information, and we don't mind sharing it. Consider giving a little bit back here and there. So send George a freshwater report that you can see yourself on the Fisherman freshwater report. It's cool.
I've seen myself on there and my kids. It's cool.
Once or twice.
And I send it to people.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you
got to send it to people and act cool. It's awesome. It's always awesome to do that.
Well, we're always proud of what we catch, right? We want to share that. And I really enjoy sharing what other people do as well. It inspires other people. If you're having trouble catching a certain species of fish, you can see that regular people catch these all the time. And we try to tell them a little bit, not spot burning, but which way to go about it. And best way to do that, like you said, if you want to share it with me, hop on my Facebook page. Just hit the messenger there and send me a picture and a little bit of a description. I'll be happy to get you guys in the report. Love the feedback.
And awesome. That's the word. You just said the word, that like inspiring someone else, giving them that little bit of something to give them a little bit of a confidence to go out there and try. And that's what keeps this all alive. And guys mistake it for bragging. And yeah, there's guys out there who probably just post to brag and stuff. But it's not really what most of us are doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's a way to share, because I know I like seeing other people catching big fish, because then it's like it gives me that little inspiration to try harder, try a different spot, try a different technique, or seek out more information about it. Like that's what it's about.
Right. Exactly. No, it's all good.
I want to thank you for all the contributions you make to our fishing community, and I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the NJ Multi-Species podcast and talk with us here. Really appreciate it.
It was my pleasure, guys.
We'll get to fish with you one day. I say that almost every guest, but I really do hope to fish with everybody. But thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much. And I'll get over to Jersey. Maybe one day we'll go hit Round Valley or something like that, just to have some fun.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You're welcome anytime. And don't forget us next winter when the lakes freeze and you're going for stripers.
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll give you a call.
Awesome, George. Thanks, you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Take it easy.
Yellow Dog Paddle and yellowdogpaddle.com. Mike Herman's offering a ton of new stuff, including fishing lessons, where he'll actually teach you how to outfit your boat to fish exactly the way he does. Also, a frequent flyer pass gives you the opportunity to go fishing in a couple different seasons and save some money. Great for retirees. Mike's continuing to troll Round Valley and catch beautiful trout. He's also now catching really nice hybrid striped bass. If you're interested in either one of those, now is the time to call Mike Herman. Also, the kayak paddle trips at night continue on. The pictures look unbelievable. All posted on the website and Instagram. Check out Yellow Dog Paddle. 8-Ball Sport Fishing out of Point Pleasant offers extreme flexibility at an amazingly affordable price. They are now our go-to for a 6-pack charter when Captain Dom has available dates. Even does after-work trips. If you only have 2 people, he may have a trip that's going out with 4 that he could fit you on. Extremely, extremely affordable. If you want to call for a price, I'm telling you, it's really great. All the varieties of fish that he goes for. Also does shark fishing trips. Loves shark fishing. Call 8-Ball Sport Fishing today. So George Shao, yeah, totally different perspective a bit on fishing from that Pennsylvania side there. And once again, another person that said the variety in New Jersey is just unbelievable on the freshwater fish. I guess it is, and that's coming from a guy that's outside the state, and we've heard it from Justin Lerner. He says the same thing. He lives in Florida now. Says the same thing about Jersey's variety. I think Jersey anglers definitely take for granted what's available here, especially the you-know-whos, but I'm not even going to say it because we're not doing that tonight again. Talking about fishing, I went out pike fishing with Chuck on Saturday. I think I caught 4, and Chuck caught maybe 6 or 7. No monsters, but got some decent fish. Got to the river and it rained overnight Friday night unexpectedly, so the river flooded, but we were still able to fish.
How many times do I have to send you guys the gauge before you look at it?
The gauge went down. I mean, the gauge went down. We went to bed and we woke up, and he texted me. He sent me a text. He's like, I was just talking to a police officer over here, and he said there was a horrible storm and flooding. And I looked at the gauge on while I'm driving there, and I said, "Oh God, it went back up again." But yeah, it was decent enough to make it worth it. We got some nice fish. I think I got a 32-inch fish was my best one. I think it was the biggest one we caught. And I thought I had a small pike on at one point. It ended up being a nice pickerel. So got a pretty nice pickerel. That was kind of a surprise. I guess we have to talk about the Fishmonger because I don't know if we'll ever have a chance to talk about something like that again. I hope we do.
I mean, dude, at the end of the day, he was like, I mean, he didn't say it wasn't good, but I don't want to give the wrong idea, but he said, yeah, today wasn't even as good as the last 3 or 4 days.
I thought I heard him say, though, that the size was really good, though.
No,
on ours.
you
No?
heard the opposite.
Really?
Even John from Nor'easter, because he was out there
He was on Friday.
2 days ago before.
I got to tell the story of John with the dead fish because he's the first person I've ever heard of to catch a dead fish.
Wait, that was him?
It was. No, it was his fish.
Oh, that's right. Go ahead.
So John was on Fishmonger Friday. He hooked a fish. As soon as he hooked the fish, he felt it wrap him around the bottom, and it broke his line. Gone. Lost the fish.
Yep.
We go back out on the Fishmonger Sunday. Somebody on the boat, while Captain Jerry's doing that same drift from Friday, snags that line and pulls in John's entire rig with the dead keeper Fluke on it from Friday. Still, it must have been wrapped around the bottom and stuck there and just like died. And someone snagged it and brought it in. And Captain Jerry said it's the first like dead keeper Fluke he's ever had come up on the boat.
Yeah, he made history.
Made history. But to explain how ridiculous this was, I mean, and yeah, obviously Captain Jerry's there every day, so he sees everything, but Chris was limited out by 6:35. Like, I don't even think I dropped a line in yet. Chris was done. Like, I was still setting up a GoPro, and Chris was like, I'm limited out.
You thought I was kidding.
I thought he was kidding. Like, I looked at my watch. It was literally 6:35 in the morning. I'm like texting my wife. I'm like, Chris is like limited out. I haven't even caught a short yet. Like, I'm not doing good.
Oh, you didn't start.
But yeah, I'm going to put the video up. I already put one video out of Marilou's fish. I have a long that'll show everything, but that's going to take me a while. 81 keepers. It was 12 anglers on the boat limit by 9:30 a.m., which was 51 keepers to limit the boat out. It was done by 9:30 a.m., and then after that, we continued to throw back keepers after keepers all day.
You were confused as hell because you were like, wait, we're catching releasing fluke fishing right now? What is that?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. Because Jerry Zagorski always tells the famous story of when Captain Pastorino limited out either fluking or blackfish, and then he switched over to porgy fishing, and the Zagorskis got pissed off and just went and sat inside, and they were calling them not team players. But yeah, so that's what I was expecting, that he was gonna switch. The boat's limited out now. We're going for triggerfish or we're going for something else. But the mate Sean came out and he said, "Don't call for a net anymore. I'm not netting them
unless it's your PB,
unless it's your personal best or you really want a picture. Just pull it up yourself." And that was it. And we were just kept slamming fluke. It got so ridiculous to the point we were like, we didn't want to open gulp bags anymore because we were just losing too many. And what was weird, we were fishing the teaser rigs with the fluke ball, both with a 6-inch gulp on each jig, and then we had a little strip bait on each piece, a piece of squid, clam, whatever. And sea robins, once we started to get those, we used sea robin strips. Captain Jerry started fishing out the window, and all of a sudden he pulled up a really nice fish, and he didn't have any bait on. He had just the gulp. And he yelled to the back of the boat. He's like, "If you got bait on, pull it off." And I'm like, okay. I reeled up my thing and I pulled both strips of bait off, back down to the bottom, and within 1 minute, the rod bent over and I had my best fish of the day. Doing exactly what he said by removing the bait. It was so bizarre. And then I was talking to him about that, and he said he'd seen that a couple times this year where he would do a drift, and the bait would do good, and then he would do it again. Bait would do no good. Then he'd take the bait off and he'd pound on him, which is really weird now because now you don't even know if you should have bait on or not.
I didn't hear him say that, so I actually never stopped putting strip bait on mine. And I kept catching, but I'm wondering if I was dealing with a lot more shorts at that point than guys that weren't, which I kind of think I was. So I think that may be the difference.
It was the best fluke fishing I've ever seen in my life. I could say that.
And I mean, I think I've probably fluke fished more than you. Is that accurate? I'm not. Right?
Probably.
I think
yeah,
I fluke
saltwater.
I mean, I used to go all the time for many years, and me as well. This is not even close. That's the best I've ever seen. So,
we're both wearing our fishmonger hats in honor. I mean,
I wore mine on the trip. I haven't taken it off.
We've had a couple tough. We love that boat. We talk about it all the time. We've had a couple tough ones in a row on that boat. We haven't even been really able to get that much great video from the boat. And we were really lucky to be on there for this one. The wind changed to south the night before we went, so we were planning on it like this is going to be the day that it starts to suck. But it wasn't. It held out for us, and it was the best day of fluking we ever saw. And the legend reigns supreme. Captain Pastorino, the king of the bottom, delivers. I don't know what else to say. The guy is unfucking believable. That's all I could say.
Yeah, and I'll add it on like I always do. Like it goes beyond that. It's just a good time. I mean,
it is a good time.
He wants to be out there, and we've all gone with those guys who like they may know what they're doing, but they're just like miserable. I don't know, like.
Yeah, there's definitely like like you get on a boat and like there's always like a group of like cool guys and then there's like a group of dicks. But when you get on the Fishmonger, it's always like a team. Like you ever like get that feeling like as the boat goes out, like there's like this team feeling. Even when he makes the posts, like he says team whoever, like there's always just like a great team effort on that boat. It's a great environment to be in.
Yeah, totally.
Nothing else I could say. And I don't have to sell him any advertising because he doesn't need it. But no. Unbelievable.
Yeah, by the way, he's full forever. So good luck.
I mean, hey, listen, the Fishmonger II.
He's got two boats now. That's right.
There is two boats. And we were on Fishmonger III, which is the red boat for the first time for us. And, Fishmonger 2 is posting big boat numbers every day right along with Red Boat. And I think there is more opportunities available now with the green boat. If you ever wanted a chance to fish on the famous Fishmonger, there could be an opportunity.
Yeah, I've never fished with Alex, the captain of that boat now, but I've heard nothing but good things. And obviously they work together. They're both Fishmonger, like they're both under Jerry. So Jerry ain't going to be catching fish and not telling Alex where he is, what depth he's at, what the crew's doing, how they're catching, what colors working, what rigs are working. Like it's basically two arms on the same.
Well, we could at one point, when we were doing a fluke drift, I was staring at Fishmonger too. I could see it. And I was like, I'm on the Fishmonger, staring at the Fishmonger.
Well, dude, think about it. Think about it, right? You're going out fishing. How much of an advantage would it be if you could split yourself into two, send two boats out in two different directions to check two spots at the same time, and then check the next two spots at the same time?
Yeah, we never, like, as soon as that happened, we should have, like, just booked a bunch of Fishmonger 2 charters for ourselves, like, immediately. And we didn't, of course. We just let it not happen. And,
I can only afford so many trips on charters.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, but we should have definitely got a few, or if there is any available, we should take one or two of them for ourselves.
I mean, call them. I'll never say no. I try to like not book too much stuff so that I can afford to feed myself and pay for like a place to live. But I do also have a huge problem, and I don't say no when someone asks me to go fishing. So
it is tough. I just want to see. I know I got a text. Gambler sent me in solid fluking numbers too. A couple fish, 6 to 7 pounds. They are getting sea bass, keeper sea bass mixed in, but you can only keep one. The night fishing for the ling and sea bass blues, night wreck fishing has been really good. And on those night trips, Chris has released a couple tiger shark and several duskies. I don't think, he probably means sand tiger shark. I don't think he means tiger shark. But yeah, on the Friday and Saturday, the Gambler's running 3 trips a day where they add this night wrecking trip in. And they have been doing good for sea bass, ling, really easy bottom fishing. I might take my wife on it because she's been asking me to do something like that that's like not that long. They're short trips. And Chris said you're actually going to have the possibility to catch squid soon in the lights, which is something I've never done.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. So not yet, but soon. All right.
In the fishing report I got today, he didn't say anything about the squid, but he said if you wanted to go for squid, August was the month. Okay. And I've never done that, but he said like you could just bring an ultralight freshwater rod and a bucket and just fill it with these. And he said it looks cool. I mean, I would love to try that, catch squid. But yeah, other than that, next week's guest, we're going back to the beach, surf fishing. Chris, who's the guest?
My buddy Dan Mancini is coming on, and no, I think I said his name wrong. I said his last name wrong. Dan's coming on. I don't want to mispronounce his name, so Dan
Boom Mancini is coming on.
I think
big
it's
surf
Mancari,
fisherman.
actually.
Used to have podcast. Knows a lot of stuff about surf fishing. We're gonna pick his brain about. I have a lot of questions about myself personally. It's gonna be like actually like an episode of me like digging information out of him for myself and people just listening.
I've been like friends with him over the internet, not like in real life friends. That's why I mispronounced his last name. But me and him and I have exchanged information over the years and helped each other out. You know, kind of like how fishermen are supposed to do. And what's funny. I'll tell a story when he comes on, but like we tried to fish with each other a couple of times and we never got to. And then one time we just randomly were fishing at the same spot and we were both like recognized each other and just like, Dan, Chris. So it was pretty funny, but surf fluke. And he loves to do shore-based fluke, shore-based walleye in the river, and snakeheads. So amongst other things, but yeah. Cool guy. Should be cool talking to him.
All right, so we will be back next week again with the surf fishing episode because I'm going to pick his brain about surf fishing. If you're watching this right now, I am fishing in a Fluke tournament tomorrow with Jerry Zagorski and Jen Wong. Hopefully we do decent in that. Chris, I don't know what you're doing, but I'll be out there fluking again with Jerry.
I had a family thing on the calendar, so I can't even fish that day.
Or Chris has a family thing. But yeah, and if you're watching this, please go to njfishing.com and just leave a simple comment. Let your voice be heard about sea bass fishing, especially that you want your voice to be heard at a federal level, not a state level, federal. We will be back next week again. Anything else, Chris, or that's it?
That is all I got. Well, I went cobia fishing, but it's not New Jersey, so I won't get into it. But if you are interested in the Chesapeake Bay cobia fishery, I'll post. It'll be up. We'll post it.
Is there any GoPro video of the cobia fishing?
Dude, every time I turned on the GoPro, it nothing happened. It was like it was cursed. I was ready to throw that damn thing in the ocean.
It is cursed. It's terrible.
Like if I had it ready to go, because it's like sight fishing, so you're riding around looking. If I had it ready to go and we thought we saw something, oh, no, it's not a cobia. Oh, no, there's no cobia on those rays. Oh, there's one. No, it swam away. Didn't care. I'm like, yo, fuck this thing. He's like, no, don't throw it in the water. I'm like, all right, put it downstairs in a fucking bag. And then within 30 minutes, like, oh, there's one. Oh, we got another one. Oh, we got 2 at the same time. It's crazy, but it's an awesome fishery. I'll post the pictures. I might have gotten a little bit of video. But yeah, real cool fishery. If anyone's interested in it, definitely check out. I went with Chuck's buddy, Clint, Show Enough.
Aren't we going again with him, with Chuck? Aren't we going to do that or no?
Oh, I don't know. I said I said, dude, you'll see me again for sure. This is a cool fishery. And that was the first like really successful trip that I had down there out of 4 times trying. It was the first time I had a real successful trip.
Weren't we supposed to go on one that got canceled because the boat wasn't ready yet or something?
Yeah, he got a new boat. Clint got a new boat, and it wasn't. Someone screwed up the paperwork, and then he got delayed.
I think Chuck said we're still going to do that.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, him and Chuck's good friends with Clint, the captain of the boat there, and
cool.
Yeah, they fish together all the time, and
how far is that ride?
It ain't that bad. 5.5 hours, maybe.
Oh, that is bad. Oh,
is it? Don't you drive that far to Salmon River to snag salmon?
Yes, you're right. Yeah, I guess it's all right.
This is much cooler than that.
Yeah,
and
I thought it was like 3 hours for some reason.
Yeah, but just huge shout out to Clint at Show Enough over there, and yeah, they're awesome time, awesome fishery. And this
I
year,
saw it from the live videos you put up. You were up on like an upper thing. Are you up there like helping him try to see fish?
Yeah, because Chuck called him and vouched for me, because he doesn't usually let customers he doesn't know up in the tower, because it's just, I don't know, if you're clumsy or if you can't cast right, you're just going to screw everything up. But Chuck called him and vouched for me, so he let me up in the tower. Yeah, I sat up there. I don't know how they're so good at spotting anything in the water, like some rays that could have a cobia on it, a cobia itself, anything. They see everything. I couldn't help them with that. Like they'd see something and start turning the boat, and I'm looking. They're like, "Do you see it?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, all right, as long as you can see it once it gets in casting range, which I didn't have a problem. Once they pointed it out in casting range, I could see it. And then casting a live eel from a tower is not as easy as it sounds, I guess. But I did all right, I think. I hit most of my targets, maybe like 50-50.
You should try to get him as a guest. We've never talked about Cobia really on here.
I will definitely see if he wants to come on. Some people, don't have the time or don't really like to do things like this, but I'll definitely ask. And now that you mentioned it, Phil Wildman, the guy that we did the white sturgeon with out in Oregon, I didn't ask him if he wanted to come on the podcast because I just figured he was busy. And, I always figure like if guys want to come on, they'll say something. I don't like to ask a lot of people because I don't want them to feel like they have to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't ask him just for that reason. I would love to have him on. He actually reached out to me, said he's finally had some time off, and he checked out some of the videos and some episodes or whatever. And he would love to come on. So I gave him a date. I don't know off the top of my head, but Phil Wildman out in Oregon that did the sturgeon, the white sturgeon trip for me and Dave All and Kyle. He's going to come on. So
that'll be cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dave All will love to hear that news.
Oh yeah.
Dave All was ranting about him.
And I didn't mention this. They have the same birthday. I forgot about that.
Oh my God. They're
Dave
lovers.
and Phil Wildman have the same birthday.
Phil Wildman's coming on the podcast for your birthday.
Dave ain't watching this. He's night fishing on the river.
He's sleeping right now. I'm going with Dave. Oh, I forgot. I'm going with Dave. I'm not going to say what night, though. It's a secret. We will be back next week. That's it. I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
That's it. It's been long enough. Suffer for the fish. See you next time.